Hello, everyone. We are here with Rene Lehmann, and today, I'm sure, as I was just talking to Rene also, the session is going to be very informative for all our candidates here and attendees here. Our speaker, Rene Lehmann, a recruitment and active sourcing expert, is here with us today. Please feel free to have an open discussion regarding any recruitment queries you're having. Without any delay, I'm glad to welcome Rene. Stage is all yours, so please feel free to share your insights and your experience. And after this, we will have Q&A as well as, yeah. So guys, without any delay, I'm leaving the stage for Rene, and please mention your queries here in the Q&A section. So, yeah.
Awesome. Great. Thank you, Bindu. Really a pleasure to be here and running this session called Ask the Recruiter, because that's exactly what I am. I am a recruiting enthusiast, active sourcing expert. And you see here, just on a high level, the different stations I've gone through recruitment. I've worked in recruitment agency. I worked in recruitment in-house at multinational companies like Johnson & Johnson, but also at local companies in Switzerland where I'm based. Then I've been the last couple of years really specializing on active sourcing. So really how to find the candidates, maybe like some of you on LinkedIn, on social media with very specific searches. Now trying to set up a new startup about a mobile app for recruitment. And next year I'll be launching a new recruitment agency as well, but that's not further to mention. Just quickly, because this is a little bit who I am, a little bit, I like humor. So maybe some of you know this meme or know a little bit what the frustration is behind as a candidate going through a recruitment process. So for instance, you had 3 phone interviews, 2 video meetings, 2 video calls, 7 face-to-face interviews, and then the recruiter after a couple of weeks comes to you and says, sorry, we're changing the role slightly. Now, I can tell you from my own experience, this can happen. This has happened also to me. And the reason why is because behind the scenes, what most of you will not see is there's a huge process, a very robust process going behind. And this is something I wanted just to share with you in order for you to consider. So you can also position yourself or anticipate certain things and manage your own expectations better. So I'm not going to go into all the details, but I can tell you that the recruitment process in, let's say, mid-size or large companies is really quite heavy with different phases: the planning phase, the sourcing phase, the screening phase, the selection phase, which is the interview phase. This is the phase where you get into action. Then there is a hire, and then there is the onboarding. Why is it so complex? Because many stakeholders are involved. This can be the line manager, maybe higher management approving the role, or later maybe changing the role, the HR manager validating, the recruiter like me trying to lead the whole process, and then maybe you also have HR admin or operations involved in some of these steps. So it's very transactional and very operational, and many steps, many people involved, so there are going to be a lot of delays. In addition, think about timing. If today I post a role and you apply tomorrow, regardless if I will see your application or not, it might take 2-3 weeks until I really react, because I want to see what other applications will come in the meantime. I'm not saying this is good or this is the right way to do it. It's just the way that often it works, right? So for you, you'll be staying you'll be waiting a long time until knowing whether there's going to be a next step or not at all. And of course, I'm not going to reject or invite you straight away, because I need to see what other candidates we will receive. Again, this is not the right way to do it. It's just the way that it often happens, right? So consider that as well. And think also about the recruiter, which sometimes, and I'm not saying that you have said this or any of you, but sometimes the recruiter is perceived a little bit as, the gatekeeper, maybe, not maybe like a friend, maybe somebody rather that is there to decide whether yes or no. But actually not. The recruiter has a very similar goal like you. You want to find a job. The recruiter wants to find you. They want to fill every role. They want to fill it with the best possible candidate. This could be you. And as fast as possible, which is also in favor of you. However, they also want to please the line manager, the hiring manager. So that's a little bit of a contradiction. And of course, they're also measured by different KPIs like time to fill, time to hire, the volume of filled roles, etc. So there is a lot on the plate of the recruiter. Now, good to know. Tips from me to you in order to a little bit, let's say, make the life of the recruiter a bit easier are around when it comes to your application. Let's focus on your CV. So your CV need a clear structure and need to be understandable, basically easy to read, like every recruiter can understand what you bring to the table. Make sure that you include those keywords from the job ad, because I'll take 20, 30 seconds to screen a CV and I want to see exactly the words or the keywords, the competencies, the skills, the qualifications that we're specifically looking, okay? And then maybe try to highlight your achievement. What did you contribute to it? And not just say that you've done project management. Tell me what project you have led and what has been your role in that project. Then I have a better understanding on what kind of profile I have in front of me, right? Now, when it comes to the interview phase, let's say 4 straightforward tips. Listen carefully. There's nothing more annoying for a recruiter than somebody on the other side, especially on the phone interview, that is not listening, and therefore the other person is maybe just saying things just because maybe you're also nervous and you want to sell yourself, but you're not really answering this, you're not answering straight the question. So really be careful. Sometimes less is more. And avoid repeating your CV. So sometimes you get the question, dear Mr. Candidate, dear Mrs. Candidate, please introduce yourself. And then typically we go through the CV. No, this is the moment where you can actually differentiate yourself from others by telling what's your added value, and maybe even try to think about some kind of storytelling. And those 90 seconds of your answer, when they ask you, introduce yourself, don't make it feel boring or like you're just going through your CV, okay? And then, of course, ask smart questions. Don't feel, I know that we expect candidates to ask questions, but really, I honestly prefer no questions rather than bad questions, okay? And then 2 other tips, for you on your way, don't call or don't chase us without a reason. So again, recruiters are handling maybe 20, 30, 40 recruitments job to fill at the same time. They're receiving between, 20 to 100 application per role. Now multiply that and imagine how my day would look like if everyone would chase me or call me. Again, I'm not saying this is the right way, the right thing. I don't want to also come across harsh or rude, but let's find a balance. And if you have very important news for me, for the recruiter, then of course try to reach us. And another one to those, so delays, but also rejections, don't take them personal. You cannot imagine. I know that some of the rejections you receive, especially if you've been into the process already, like you ended up like second or among the last 3 or 4, and you hear something like, oh, you were very good, but we decided to take somebody else, but you were really good. You know what? Sometimes it's true, because believe me, the decision who's been hired is by the hiring manager. And sometimes, while 2, 3 candidates might be perfectly qualified for the role, it's maybe very small differentiations, like maybe even gut feeling. Now tell me, how should I as a recruiter explain you that it's because of the gut feeling of the hiring manager that you didn't get the role, without making it complicated or sound silly? So sometimes it is what you get as a rejection, and in any case, never take it personal. Last slide from my end, the power of LinkedIn. I'm a big fan of LinkedIn. Thank you for those who already reached to me for connections. I'm happy to connect. Use LinkedIn as a candidate, if you're a job seeker, or in general as a professional, to showcase your personal branding, who you are. Make sure your profile picture is recent and professional. Use the banner picture with relevant message, with an informative message. Use the About Me sections with the right keywords, the keywords that you want to be found for, because I'll be searching, or active sources will be searching by those keywords. Maybe add the volunteering activities that will give a little bit of a more authentic look from your profile. Experiences, qualification, skills, that's like your CV, so make it kind of, be the same. And then why not engaging by creating, sharing, commenting, and liking content. So now, Bindu, maybe over to you for some Q&A, and I stop sharing so we see our faces.
Yes, sure, sure, sure. So, Rene, the points you have shared with us, especially the process. So, I think many of us are, not aware because you are sharing what is behind the curtain. So, this is that's what I added at beginning. So, this is going to be very informative for our today's audience. And yes, as you mentioned about the LinkedIn, so I'm going to show you a question on the stage, and I'll be reading it for you as well as how does a LinkedIn profile need to be like in order to be found or approached by a recruiter? So please share your views on that.
Yeah. So great question. So first of all, it needs to be complete. So fill out as many parts of the profile itself. And whether it is under the experiences or the about me section, use those keywords that define you. Try to think, it's not just marketing, it's maybe also digital, it's branding, it's product management, it's project management, etc. Because sources will be searching very specifically about those keywords. And the more time the keywords appear in your profile, the higher you will be ranking in my search when I have 100 profiles in front of me. And the other thing, you have this open um, open for new jobs kind of option. So whether you want the
Yes.
frame to be appear, I leave it out to you. But even if you select it without the frame, the recruiters will see it in the background that you're open for jobs, and this will maybe make us connect with you quicker because we see, oh, this person is actually actively looking. So that's my takeaway on that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, like as you also mentioned, like what happens when, a recruitment happens, the process specifically. So, when we are, when we have given the interview, yes, definitely we should, wait for the response. But when we should knock the door, that hey, let us give some, updates, or when we should reach out to them, and is there any specific period, or should we ask them that, when we should reach out to you again, or to have an answer, or something like that, Rene?
So I think if I understand correctly, I think it's totally fair as a candidate after every connection, whether it's an email exchange, a phone interview, or a real interview, to ask for the next steps and add dates to the next step. So if the other party, if the employer is not giving you like time frames, then actually kindly ask for time frames. Can I expect an answer by 1 week or 2 weeks? And because I think then it's totally also fine for you to reach out when that time frame has kind of expired, because you are in your right to ask for, hey, you said that you're going to reach out to me in 1 week or 2 weeks. I'm coming to you. I'm sure you're busy. I just wanted to hear, as I'm still very interested, and so on.
Yes. So okay. So yes, it's good to ask the feedback, or how is it? Then sometimes yes, feedbacks are maybe not positive for that particular job. So
Yeah.
definitely, this is a question that should we ask them that what makes some feedback. But when we
Yeah.
are getting a positive response, should we ask that time also a question that what brings me, maybe that answer will be very simple, or maybe, but what do you think in that way? When a candidate is being selected, I'll just share my question in the described way. When a candidate is being selected, should that time he should ask this question that which all the skills, or what makes me selected for this role, right? And
Mhm.
definitely this is the question when we are not getting selected. So when the answer is not positive, should that's definitely we should ask this question, or should we not, we should avoid this asking this question. What's your view in that?
No, so I think I mean, I think feedback is very important, right? So I think if a candidate has gone through the interview process, which means there have been, let's say, direct interactions either with recruiter or line manager, I think the candidate deserves a fair feedback. And this means to me more than just an automated email telling that you have been rejected or that somebody else has been chosen. This means to me some more content around the feedback on the reason why. So again, if I would be receiving a rejection after having been at this company on 1 or 2 interviews, I would ask for that and I would expect that. Now, if they don't give it to you for whatever reasons, you also at some point need to understand that and respect that. But sometimes the reasons they
Yeah.
don't give feedback is because sometimes it's not so easy because you don't want to discourage the candidate, right? So I know that for the candidate, it's important to learn from the interview to understand what am I missing, what can I do better. Sometimes it's very easy, and more experienced recruiters maybe can help and can be more because you go into a little bit of a coaching situation, right?
Mhm.
So more experienced recruiters may be a bit easier, but sometimes it's just very difficult to say somebody that actually you wanna you're not gonna have any further connection, so you don't want to say something bad. You rather want to stay in a good manner or in a good way with this person. So this is why it makes it a bit difficult to give, let's say, a very honest feedback, right?
And it should be any question we should avoid. Like, what are the 3 things we should avoid during an interview? 3 questions or 3 things we should not ask, we should not talk about.
Yeah, I think, not sure if I can bring it to 3. It's because it's a bit more the your mindset as a candidate. So I know it's very easy for me to say it, but again, my recommendations are try to take pressure out of you first of all, because normally pressure is not a good friend when you are on an interview. And by saying that, I mean also
Yes.
listen carefully to the recruiter or to the person who is leading the interview. I know that sometimes, and this is sometimes that you should not be doing, sometimes we try to, as a candidate, steal the stage in order to, tell about all the great things that we bring. But that is, the wrong way to do it, because actually it will be a little bit bothering for the recruiter or for the line manager, because they have a very specific structure about the interview. So it's important to really listen carefully, answer question by question, because sometimes I ask one question and I receive already 4 answers, so that I don't know anymore what to ask. So I would
Yes.
say that is my suggestions for the candidates.
Rene, we have Cliff's part here, and Cliff, if you have any questions you want to directly ask to Rene, so it will be great. Or I think you can also mention your yeah.
Yeah, I put a question in the question and answer. It's just general
Sure.
advice for CVs, basically. I know we're given the usual tips, but do you have any specific or different tips that you could offer?
I know it's about the CV, but what specifics about the CV? Sorry, not sure if
Um,
I got it
is,
correct.
is there any advice you can give that, apart from general advice on CVs that we usually get? So something you've noticed that isn't part of the usual advice we're given for CVs, like putting in the experience and education and profile and so on.
So I think when it comes to the CV, on one hand, it's your entry card, right? Because I think many recruiters, they don't look that carefully in a, I don't know, application letter, motivation letter. So it really reduces to the CV. You cannot, the experience and qualifications are of course a must-have, but I think it differentiates how you put it, especially when it comes to the experience. As I was saying, I think it's important to also highlight the achievement in the contributions you've done in those different experiences, and of course matching it or bringing it together, or as close as possible to the job ad that you're applying for. On the other hand, I would always use, I think this is a new trend that I as a recruiter welcome also, that you have a first section where you introduce yourself a little bit with your skills, with that added value that I was mentioning as well. And when it comes to the format, I would really think about something, it needs to fit you because it's authentic, right? It needs to be you. You should not be stealing the template from somebody else. Of course, you may use existing templates, but at the end, you will adapt it to your to what you feel about. But it has to be really. I've seen CVs where they spent 1 page in the introduction with a big picture and the personal information. For me, that's a waste of time, a waste of page, because I think 2-3 pages should be more than enough, and not much more. So keep it, keep a well structure in order to make it the reader that typically may the first time only invest 20 to 40 seconds, make it easier, and basically make sure that in those 20 to 40 seconds all the questions that I could have are answered. Sorry, that's been a lot now.
No, that's good. That's good advice.
So thank you, René, and thank you, Cliff, for your
Thank you.
questions, and thanks a lot for being here. So
Sure, you're welcome.
and we have a lot many questions lined up, but we have very short time, and but just there is one question, so I thought of sharing this with you on screen. I have shared it for your reference. What all the recruiters are sending automated responses instead of the reason for rejection. How can someone learn from automated rejection messages? I think I found this very interesting. So thank you, Deepak, for asking this question. And yes, please, Rene, share this response.
This is a tough one. So again, as far as I'm concerned, or as far as I know, there is no hidden messaging or coding in those automated rejection message. Some application tools, depending on how well and sophisticated they are designed, and that's from company to company different. Yes, me as a recruiter, I may have different templates to choose, but then again, all the templates, everything I've seen that is automated is so high level, and you cannot really learn anything about that. Some people might tell you you're receiving a rejection because you may not have the working permit for that country, or sometimes you receive a rejection because it says we just found better candidates, or it just says that maybe not all minimum qualifications are missing. But nobody's going to get at that stage where you just use automated emails more in detail with that, because also there is also a legal aspect that if every recruiter will always write from the heart a nice email, then maybe one or two recruiters may sometimes, or may at some point, say something that maybe will not be understood in the right way, and could even lead to maybe even a legal situation, which is why companies, especially with the automated messaging that kind of everyone can use, and just hit the button, go out, it's super high level. And again, if you feel that you deserve more feedback, if you feel that you invested a lot of time, you already had maybe a connection with them, I would definitely try to reach out, maybe even using LinkedIn to approach. However, always respectful of people's time. I know it's not fair because you guys put a lot of time and efforts in your application, and again, at the other side is company just pushing one button. But it's the way the process is at the moment, right?
Yeah. Thanks, Rene. The part which you shared, that directly if they are writing by heart, that can cause, so that's very, very important to learn from you. This is very great to know for I think for me especially, and as well as for attendee. But it's not many questions I can see here, Rene. So I think people would love to connect with you again. But for today, guys, we have already, taken some extra minutes. So this is the time to say bye, and let's go for another session. And thanks a lot, Rene, for all the experience you have shared with us, and all your thoughts and the details you have shared. So thanks, and
Thank you.
Okay, bye bye everyone for today.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.